We're in an historic drought, and that demands unprecedented action. It's for that reason that I'm issuing an executive order mandating substantial water reduction across our state. As Californians, we have to pull together and save water in every way we can. That means conservation, it means innovation, and it means collaborating on the farm and in the city and in the mountains in a way that we take into account reality.
Water in the West is life, and as much as we all think about our water supply that comes out of our tap as a local supply, it is an incredibly interwoven and complicated system. Those of us who sit in Las Vegas rely on snowpack in Wyoming and Colorado and Utah and New Mexico for our water supply. Those who are ironically sitting in Long Beach or Newport Beach or San Diego or Santa Barbara, all of them rely on Colorado River water. Even water that goes to the Front Range of Colorado finds its origin on the other side of the Continental Divide. We move it through the Rocky Mountains. Talking about water in the West is always emotional, but it becomes even more so when we talk about it in drought conditions.
Well, we're Sharon and Pat O'Toole of Ladder Ranch. We're located in the Little Snake River Valley, which is on the Colorado-Wyoming border, west of Steamboat Springs, Colorado, and south of Rawlins, Wyoming. We're in the Sierra Madre Mountains here, and our ranch is right at the confluence of Battle Creek and the Little Snake River, which are both tributaries of, ultimately, the Colorado River. Right now, as you know, one of the biggest things we're concerned about is the drought, the lack of water. How are we going to adapt to that? Even during the 30s, my dad always said that this valley was less dry than the rest of the country, but even with that, we shouldn't have green grass in the middle of April. We should still have a little snow on the ground.
We wouldn't be able to be standing here in a normal runoff here. This is as low as I've ever seen it. It's not a good indicator, for the long term of what we're going to see this summer, and hopefully we'll get rains and enough rains to keep things going. But from a snowpack perspective, this is pretty much as low as I've ever experienced in the 40 years I've been here.
I'm Dan Roddenberry. I'm a second-generation farmer. Farm with my two brothers and mother. Farm about 5,200 acres of a wide range of crops, including almonds, pistachios, wine grapes, but also row crops like tomatoes, garlic, onions, garbanzos. We are in our fourth year drought. Last year we had no allocation. This year we have no allocation. Because of the impact of the drought and the regulatory restraints on the project have made water unavailable to us, and we've become more reliant on the groundwater to irrigate our crops. So we're irrigating some of the crops, we're fallowing a lot of the land, and we're trying to buy water on the market as much as there is possible to buy to sustain our farming operations.
Put things in perspective for you, in 2011, that was the last wet year that California experienced, and at the time, if you look out over here, you can see where the tree line is, and this reservoir was completely full. We had 1 million acre-feet of water. It was at capacity, essentially. And in fact, that year, the lake was so full, we had 1 million acre-feet of water come through that we couldn't even store. So, the easy way to think of that is we filled and spilled the reservoir and filled it again. That's how much water came through that year. Since that wet year, the lake has just fallen, and as you can see, we're at about 10% of capacity right now. Each year since the drought began, our farmers have gotten a little bit less water. Basically, last year they got, just enough to barely keep a tree alive, and this year they are not going to get any water at all from Lake McClure.